Thank you so much.
Thanks.
I'm so excited. My first one. And just so much to catch up on.
I know,
and
always.
I've made some notes, but I think, to be honest, we probably don't need the notes. But so update me, what's going on in life? So basically, let me calm. Please do tell the wonderful people watching who you are and what you do.
So I am Kate. I own a business called Embrace Clinics Limited, which is an aesthetics business that predominantly focuses on women between the age of 30 and 60 who have probably lost themselves a little bit. So they've lost who they are, they've lost their authenticity, they've lost their self-acceptance and confidence at the core. And we work with them effectively, so through the medium of skin, to help get that back. So I suppose we focus on the physicality, but as you know, when you're in clinic, it's an emotional ride as much as a physical ride. But yeah, no, we focus on skin health, longevity and performance, which is quite different to other aesthetic businesses. I think a lot of people forget that as the skin as an organ, and I just don't ever forget that. It's probably my love of science and biology, and you know, I could geek out on it till the day's end. But I think that's where we carve out our unique approach, you know, and because of that, we the way we've built the business is all around that. So it's really interesting when people say to me, you know, what does your business sell? You know, what do you do? And I think they expect me to say injectables or, you know, devices or etc. Facials, but actually for me, what I sell is self-acceptance.
I love that.
And that's what, on those days, and you and I know, you run your own business, you know, I run my own business, and it can be tough. And I think having that written down somewhere from an impact point and just a core value and a core driver is really important. So I've got that side of the coin, and the other side of the coin is I also work for a multinational, sort of multi-billion pound turnover food business. So that's also part of my life now, through some changes that have happened this year. And just also in life, just working out what the right balance is for you, rather than maybe like the society and the world dictate to you. So I think I've got there-ish.
Yeah, I don't know how you juggle it all. I really don't. And obviously we've known each other for a little while now.
Yeah.
Probably like, I don't know, maybe a year and a bit now.
Yeah.
And so I've seen this journey that you've been on since meeting you to who you are now. I think we've got so much to like unpack there.
Lots.
But but yeah, just seeing you sort of coming out the other side of it is lovely for like the people around you and that have seen sort of the craziness that's happened. But and the way that with your business, with the how you are with skin, I think obviously aesthetics and all this is such a big thing right now, and everyone talks about it. You see it on social media everywhere, but then it's so like unregulated, isn't it? And there's
Absolutely.
big topics around how they're trying to introduce, because a lady that does my Botox, she has recently had to, because the law changed or something.
Yes.
So you have to now make a appointment with the prescriber a week before or something to get the prescription to then be able to have the Botox. And like, they're trying, aren't they? They're trying to regulate it. But then you get all these people just popping up and they think it's easy money, and it's such a hype right now that it's like, it's just the thing to do.
Absolutely.
But that's where you and your business is so different, and it's making sure that comes across, isn't it? Which you're so good at.
Absolutely. And I've got, again, you talk about geeking out. So it's funny how life works, and it's funny how all of a sudden you realise how it is generally like a puzzle, like the piece of the puzzle, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, it's come together. Oh, that's why I've done this, and this is why I do that. And that, so in my, I suppose, food-based career, I was, you know, I look after food safety, quality, legality, ethical trading, product integrity. So, but food, because obviously we ingest it, it's always been around a little bit longer than aesthetics have. So we've got loads of regulation, loads of legislation. And, you know, I deal with that on a day-to-day basis in terms of what's required and the changes and how that transition happens and et cetera. So I'm really au fait with what that looks like. I'm a massive supporter and contributor to that. So I suppose I've got a competitive advantage in the sense of I've seen that market go through its market phases of, you know, where it's innovated and that's what's driven it. And then consumption's gone up, and people want more and more and more of new. And I think the aesthetics industry has gone through that stage, and actually it's coming to a slightly more mature phase. So, but again, I've been through that phase already in food because it's just so far ahead because of what it is and where it started and when it started to get regulated. So I always know what's coming.
Yeah.
To a certain extent.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So 12 months ago, I said to my clients, the cost of botulinum toxin is going to go up. I reckon about 12 months. That's exactly what happened. And I said, it's going to become more complicated about 12 months. And that's what's happened. So because you just see, it's really weird. I've just got this really weird ability to have like intuition around a lot of stuff.
It's almost like seeing into the future a little bit, isn't it? Just on a different topic.
Yeah, I think it is a skill about how you put those pieces together and then where you edge your bets. Because I do a lot of scenario mapping in the business, in life, in a lot of things. Because it's just I'm built that way. I'm quite systematic, and yeah, I've got a pretty good track record of hitting and choosing the right path to take. Not always. We'll probably cover that, more on a personal level. But I think from a work point, it seems, and from a business point, I seem to have picked the right path. Or if it's not, then I've got a backup, or I've got it mapped out as to what that can look like. But 100%, it's you've got a market that is maturing, so the growth is slowing, but there is growth there. It's going to consolidate because people are going to drop out either through choice or being forced out effectively because of the legislation, and people just either can't comply to that or won't comply to it.
I think that's what needs to happen, though. I think
100%.
The ones that are faking it till they make it need to be the ones that go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's dangerous.
It is, it's people's bodies, it's people's faces. Yeah, I keep a wall, and people who come into my clinic will know this story about how I've got a wall at home where I literally every week go there and I write down how much business I've turned away because it's important.
Oh, I love that.
And I won't. That figure is not a small amount. It's not a small number. But do you know what that figure? The cost of that figure is that I could put my head on the pillow at night and know that I've done the right thing. That figure helps me with client retention and like long-term value of clients, and also just helps me know that that we do what we said we were doing and building that self-acceptance. Like that's what we're selling, but all the metrics will tell you. But yeah, that wall's really important. Yeah, to me. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's, and like from someone that works on social media and stuff, please do put that on social media.
The number I have to get blurred out is a decent, I don't know, should it, I don't know, but it's a decent sized number, to most people. But yeah,
I think it just shows where your belief and your morals are, and people are going to trust that, and they're going to come to you for that reason.
That's it. I've never met anybody that chases like money. You're going down a really dark path, and it's almost a short-term path as well. So, which I'm just not built like that. I've never chased money yet. I always seem to find it, attract it, whatever. And it's not what I live for in life. I was actually listening to another podcast yesterday because I'm a podcast junkie, which is sort of appropriate for being on here. Yeah. I was like, what are they saying? What can I say tomorrow? But this actual theme was around purpose, and this guy was talking about purpose to serve others is basically effectively the meaning of life, and like where you get that, I suppose, spark, joy, energy from. And I'm a big believer in that. So I don't wake up every day chasing. I just don't. I wake up thinking, how can I make this better?
Yeah.
Or how do I make this more accessible? Or how do I move faster on this to get it to people quicker? We'll probably talk about it somewhere, but the model I built through the business, just didn't exist. I'm not somebody I don't want to go into something doing the same as it just that doesn't what motivates me.
Yeah, I'm the same as well, and I think it's where I've never worked in an industry like this. Like my whole background's dance. It's so different. Yeah. Like, and then I sort of got into this and was like, but I've never worked for anyone, so I don't know like the blueprint. I don't have a path to follow. I'm just literally doing what I think is right, and then like questioning myself, is this right?
Yeah.
But like, if your gut tells you it's right, just keep going and 100%. See what happens.
And look, it is this. I always feel like sometimes when people go on podcasts, it's like a preaching pitch, But the truth is, it is hard. It is really hard on those days where you see people, they're stacking the cash in, they may be attracting your customers, because of the oversell and and under delivery. But I think what life's taught me is if you just stick at it, and stick to what your gut's telling is right and what your morals are telling right and what your moral compass is so important. Don't deviate from that. And we've, one of our core values is authenticity, and we're all about, our strapline is authentic aging. And I've done, hundreds of psychometric tests for various jobs and things at different levels. And, there's one that you do where it shows your persona basically in work and out of work. And every time my 2 lines are like bang on. Like they're not separate, they don't differ. I don't heighten something up, I don't drop something. So it is funny because I know that about myself, and it's kind of transpired and translated into the business through strap lines, values, execution, talk about the wall and the self-acceptance piece. So but like I say, it's funny how the jigsaw all sort of comes together, but it's not, it's effortless for me because it is just so entwined with who I am and what I represent as a person.
And that's like huge what I'm about as well. Like building a brand, we're all about brand development. And I, again, go through it from an authentic angle in that what you want to say should align with what you're saying on your online platforms in any way, representing your business. Your core values should align with you. And then the people that you're going to attract are going to align with you, and you're not going to have all these troublesome clients, but you're going to attract the right audience. And that's authenticity, again, same as yours. It's like one of my core values, 100%.
Like you as a person, I think that's why we obviously attract each other. I think it was almost like, you always pick people out the crowd too. It's like, it's like an energy, you can't describe it. But as soon as I met you, I was like, this is like my person. This is like, I just knew we were going to be, didn't know we were going to be sitting here, but I knew we were going to be like friends for a long time, or connected for a long time, so, and then to your point, I think, again, navigating the world of business, when I started off and I look at the clients that we had and it was very broad, broad set of clients of all different value sets and wants and needs and budgets and
stages
all sorts.
And
absolutely. And I look now and we've got something we call it the e-community, so and it really is, I always say to I see them obviously all individually, but I say, God, if we really got together as a group, which there's sort of plans to do, I just know they would all get on like a house on fire. And
because you've attracted your people.
Absolutely. And you just, it's like I said, I'll go back to it's effortless, but I think there is this thing there's a big epidemic at the moment around loneliness. And again, I think it's how far do you stretch the business to, we're delivering hopefully self-acceptance to drive confidence, compounding confidence opens up, you see things in a different way and therefore you take different opportunities. And then, I'm a living example of where that ends up. I think now there is an aspect where that keeps sort of, again, I just can't get rid of it. So I know I need to do something about it. This whole loneliness piece that's happening, in the world. And even at ages where it's like 20s, it's not we used to think when you get older, your 60s, 70s, but it's not like that anymore. There's people in their 20s and their 30s through various reasons and circumstances, but, are lonely. And it's like, actually, that's something that we're looking at as a business as to how we can support with that.
Yeah. And I think even people that don't appear lonely, and they might have family and they might have everyone around them and you think, they're thriving, but actually, and I think business owners as well, because it's hard for other people to relate. Even if a fellow business owner, 100%. They can relate from the fact that they own a business, but they don't know the ins and outs of your business. And like, I'm so grateful that I've got my team. I mean, I've got a really supportive partner and we talk as much as we can, but he's never going to fully understand everything that's going on. Whereas my team, 2 of them in particular, we're so close. We've worked together for ages. And if I didn't have them to sometimes I just need to rant to them. And
you're right, there isn't any outlet. And there's a point where I'm really lucky that because I suppose your clients become more than clients, in the end. And there's a level of venting and sharing there, but there is a line, so because they come to you for them, they're there for them, so you've just got to be mindful of that. But I'm very lucky that I've got just an absolutely awesome group of I always feel like clients quite cold, but I haven't quite found the word community. Maybe a community, I don't know. But
you need that in between word.
But it's true. I mean, we met on a coaching program, didn't we? And part of the reason we both talked about this, about collectively joining that coaching program, was to have people like us, who maybe understanding that you can talk to. So outside of the content and the opportunities that come from the coaching program. It's actually just about it could be quite lonely. You know, I'm on my own in my business, and we're just in that process of building the team side of it at the moment. But yeah, and you don't want to burden your partner all the time, do you? So get or your family or your friends. So.
And then again, it's like having that separation between, you don't want to put all of the work stuff and talk about home work when you're at home. Like, you need to talk about work when you're at work, really.
But I think it's just a part of running your own business that I don't think is. It's not completely undisclosed, but it's just not. I don't think it's talked about as much as it should be. It's all about you win or you lose in the mind, and I'm a big believer of that. And actually, that loneliness side, that lack of community, or that lack of team, or lack of ability to communicate or get it out of your system or process it, you know, can hit hard and can be. I think 9 times out of 10 is the reason businesses fail more than actually anything else.
Yeah,
it's the fact that you can't process what you're going through, you can't work it through with somebody, or you haven't got anybody there.
And then I think it's mindset as well. I think, like, we're both really positive people, and like, I know that when I get overwhelmed or something, I do just go and lock myself in a room and just process.
Yeah.
Like, even when I go to the coaching program, even if I went to the big events there, and I needed then that drive home to just sit in silence and process.
Yeah.
Like, and I think it's almost like, is it REM sleep, or that stage of sleep where your body is processing and your brain's processing the events from the day?
Yeah.
It's almost like that. I'm doing that on a short term.
Yeah.
Just to, like, because otherwise I'd just freak myself out, I think. Yeah. I need that. And
it's very easy to implode, for sure. We've seen it happen with people, you know, that have just, either disappeared off the coaching program, or people I know where the business is just on there anymore. And, you know, it's, I think unless you go out there and seek a community, it can be quite difficult. So I'm then thinking, well, how do you create a space? And I know we've got a community. I know that they would all get on because we're all similar people, effectively. But individually, they're coming to me, and they're not coming and going, I'm lonely.
Yeah,
that's not how the world works. But if you really listen to what they're saying, you know, collectively, I would say with a good 50% of my, you know, client community base, there's a level of loneliness there. Like I said, you talk about women between 30 and 60. So,
and again, that's prime age with menopause and everything. That's prime age for everything just to go tits up.
Yeah.
And because you have to relearn yourself again. It's like teenagers going through puberty. Like you have to relearn what triggers you, what makes you happy, what you feel about yourself, what, like, all these different. And I think even coming out the other side of having children after pregnancy, you're relearning your body, you're relearning how your mind works, you're relearning your partner, because you change as parents and people, and like it's so I think, obviously not hit the menopause stage yet, but I think that prime age for you hear it. I'm so glad it's talked about more now, because I think it's good for them, but I think we will have so much more preparation going into that stage of our life.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I think that comes from community rather than like a healthcare system. I think that's so far behind. So you think you've got a community there and experts, but and I'm sure, and there are, you know, there's exceptions to the rule, but I think generally when, you know, having, you know, spoken to people in my community, they don't feel like they've got the advice, the guidance, the care, the support that they need. So again, it's just, there is something around it, as we sort of briefly talked about earlier about AI and bits and bobs, as that comes into the world and integrates into the world. Because I think it is about integration. I don't think it's AI or this.
People.
It's about integration, but it's like, that's where those connections and community and spending time together becomes even more important. So I'm like, well, okay, I've got an asset in terms, depends how you look at your business. You've got assets in physical assets, so devices, locations, you know, etc. But we have got an asset in the community.
Absolutely.
So whether that's about leveraging business growth, or whether it's about leveraging personal growth for them, I think their personal growth for me, for them, is as important as business growth.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
feel like there's I don't know whether it's somewhere deep within me, but I feel like I've got this thing to like save people.
Yeah, I have as well.
I don't know where that comes from. I don't know why. But yeah, and that's I suppose that's where the business sort of started, really.
Yeah,
I just spotted an opportunity where I'd been to aesthetic clinics, or, you know, and not been cared for effectively. I just haven't been cared for, you know. And that's not a nice feeling.
I think it's a place of being from the client's perspective, from my perspective, I don't like to go into a place where I'm not educated. Like Erin that does my Botox, who you know as well.
Yeah. She's brilliant.
Yeah, she is insane because I sit in that chair. I mean, she's turned me down for something before.
Yeah.
I've said, oh, well, this is sort of bugging me. What do you think? Do you think I need that? And she goes, no, you don't need that. And I'm like, okay, lovely. And it just makes you trust that person, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
But then she tells me like why you would do something and how you do it. And I'm one of those people that I'm really, really annoying, like to doctors or like even someone doing my hair, like
why
my face. I'm like, so why does that work? And how does that work? Like, I love to just know.
Yeah.
I just find it interesting. And she gives me all that information. I love that.
100%. I mean, our business, we've got, a mission, a vision and values, side of it. But in terms of like how we deliver that for clients or the community, it's our 3 strategy. So we've got engagement, education, and empowerment. So that's the 3 steps. Let me engage you on a personal level, on a one-to-one level. Yeah, you're not a number.
Yeah.
If anybody came into our, as I always say, my business, and felt like a number, that would be devastating for me. Yeah. That's not why I get out of bed.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. And then we go through an education system, and that's education again on one-to-one through skin assessments, etc. But we also put on events. We do webinars with industry leading representatives, global, local, etc. For nothing. There's absolutely no cost to the community. We fund that as a business. Just to purely educate them,
Yeah, and they're so interesting because I've been to one clinic and one online, and they are fascinating. And I can't remember the name, Nicola someone.
Yes,
that you had
from
on
Nishido
the Zoom.
time.
She's so interesting.
Well, I do. I'm really proud of that, actually. I know we talked about moments that you're proud of. So Nick and I connected at a trade show, and actually the brand was doing okay, but it wasn't huge, and I spotted it. And Nick and I connected on an intellectual level, so first and foremost, and then we realised that we've got similar values, etc. And I listened to her story about where she'd come from and why she created the product, and then you put her accolades against that, and it's like, you are the most trustworthy person I have ever met. Like anything you sell me tomorrow, I would buy without question. Because your intention's right and you've got all the accolades to last a lifetime. And now you look at her. So now she's going to, Necker Island and presented in front of Richard Branson. She's just presented at Las Vegas at the World Health Summit on NAD. So she's very fast becoming the global expert on NAD.
Explain what NAD is.
So NAD, probably take a step back actually. So, because this is what we sort of go through with clients, but not to get too morbid, but the reason we effectively decay and die eventually, that's the only time I mention that word, or hopefully, is because of 2 things. So our cellular health declines, and it declines because effectively it's doing jobs every day. It's working.
And what do you mean by cellular health?
So that's about how healthy your cell is. So what happens is your cell keeps replicating itself like all the time, and that effectively damages it. So it's doing that to process all your bodily functions. It's doing that to fight disease. It's literally working every single day, every single cell in your body. And when it's working, it's effectively damaging itself. And then the second part of it is it's the energy level within your cell. So there's a little thing called the mitochondria. It's like a little battery pack in your cell. And over time, that just slows down. The battery gets slower and it gets empty. So this is why there's so much research into, I'll stick on the energy side first, because if we can increase the energy, then your cellular activity gets higher. So everything, it gets stronger, its ability to fight disease, everything. You've just got more energy to do everything and to live effectively. So LEDs being looked at for that. So particularly red light therapy with LED to boost it, hits your mitochondria, it speeds it up by, our devices by 200
Red light
times.
therapy is such a thing at the minute.
That's amazing.
And I don't want to take you off this topic, but I want to know more about that as well, because I want to know whether these huge robot faces everyone keeps putting on themselves at home, are they worth the money? This is what I want to know.
I'm probably quite controversial on that subject. I'll come on to it. I will, because I've got, there's 2 things that kind of define my probably decision making on like LED masks and things like that. But so you want to increase the energy in your cell, and then your cellular health declines because that replication process, it uses something called NAD, which is naturally in our body. And you can't make more NAD. Naturally, you can't. It's not like you can trigger it. It's not. So
does that stand for something? NAD.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, but it's a massive word. It's huge. It's huge. But basically, we lose 50% of our NAD like every 20 years. So you start off with 100, and 20 years you've got 50.
Oh Jesus!
You've got 25, etc. So you have to supplement. There's no other way to do it to top that back up. So you'll hear things around NAD injectables, patches, IV drips, and again, if you listen to Nicola, which I just for anybody that wants the webinar, just shout. But it's there's various reasons why those techniques don't work.
Yeah, because that's what I got from it. Because you see all 100%. These patches, you see, was it an injection works better than anything? Was that I can't remember what it says.
It's that so you can get typically there's IV drips out there. There's injections that are either administered in clinic, like intramuscularly, or you've got the ones at home as well, which are fascinating. And then you've got the patches, but because of how NAD has to get into the bloodstream, none of those work.
Right.
They don't work. So, but when you listen to Nicola with the supplements, you understand why they work.
So that's by digesting it because it goes straight to your gut?
Absolutely. Oh. Yeah. It gets into your bloodstream effectively. Right. That's the way. So she's looked at every waveform and whatever, and that is the way that it gets into the bloodstream. Yeah. Yeah.
And that tops up what the cells are missing.
That's it. So it helps to boost your NAD, and NAD is great for, just any cellular activity. So it's really difficult to pinpoint in respect to if you're coming in for skin treatments, it's going to boost your outcome and boost your results and the longevity of those results. Helps with sleep, helps with mood. So if you're going through like that stage of menopause or just a quite challenging stage of life, it's really interesting, and this is just how society is built now. And again, this is probably why it's a USP for us and a differentiator is, from my background of working in the food industry and the role I was in, because I was in irrespective role, it didn't matter, but particularly when you get to a more senior level role, you have to get to the root cause, because if you don't, nobody else will. And if you don't resolve that root cause, you're going to get the same issue again. And when you're dealing with big with the big food retailers, or any customer really, you get so many chances to make mistakes. So it was on me to be able to get to the root cause. So I'm really passionate. That's what we're really passionate effectively about within the business. That's where we start, is root cause. But yeah, and because of that, you'll get clients going saying, I'm taking magnesium, I'm taking vitamin C, I'm taking this, I'm taking that, okay? It's not for me to dictate or even advise what to take in respect of like vitamins and minerals. But what I will say is, if you're taking them at 20 and you're still taking the same amount and whatever at 30, you're not getting the same efficacy and impact, because your cellular health has declined hugely between 20 to 30. So people miss building the foundation. So if you build your foundation and actually, through NAD and get your cellular health better, do you need those supplements? Like they're the sticking plaster effect.
Yeah.
You're not dealing with the root cause of the problem.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that you still might not need them in addition to, because of whatever it is you're doing and whatever it's for and whatever the advice is. But if you want to get bang for your buck, you need to have a solid foundation. And that's the same process that we apply in the clinic on all levels. It's like build foundation.
Yeah, it's the same with so many things as well.
And I know people don't want to do it because it's where the hard yards are.
It's
the boring
yeah.
bit. It's the bit that nobody sees.
They want the quick fix.
Consistency. But consistency and confidence compound. Yeah, I use like financial equations in our business because it's just...
You've made me wonder now, because I have a vitamin D deficiency.
Yeah.
And I take max strength vitamin D supplements on recommendation from the doctor. And when I don't take them, I do just collapse.
Yeah.
And when I'm taking them, I'm much better. But actually, what am I just masking that then? What's...
I think I'm always very much about start with the base. Invest in the base first, always. It's not the sexy bit. It's not the easy bit. It'll feel like sometimes quite laborious, and you won't see you might not see impact straight away. So with the NAD, we recommend like a 3-month program, you know, you've got to get into your system, you've got to build it up, you've got to whatever. Yeah. It's a commitment.
Yeah. Not the quick fix.
No, commitment, consistency, and confidence. If you get those 3 C's, the compound effect is huge.
Yeah.
And we talk about this when our business to our clients. Yeah. I talk about the hockey stick effect.
Oh, do you know this? Interesting. No.
So in finance, so again, this is where I'm probably very different. So I've got I'm like a numbers person. I love numbers, always have done. I was on the master quiz team when I was younger, don't judge me. And, you know, yeah. I don't tell many people that, now everybody knows. So yeah, but yeah, no, it was a fascinating experience. I've got a love affair with numbers. And like we said earlier, not about money numbers, just numbers. I like how they work and how one can impact others and the relationship between them. So I started to it's only recently, try and learn about investing in like stocks and shares and that side of it. It's just, again, quite interesting. And they talk about this compound effect. So on average, and this is not financial investing advice. This is not, you know, just for clarity, I'm not an expert. So please do your own research. Please do not invest unless you are willing to lose it.
All on Kate Millar's advice.
All the caveats that go behind. I'm trying to think what they say on these programs, so I don't get sued. But basically, the net gain return on something like the S&P 500 is 8 to 10%. Yeah, over a time. Okay, and through that time's your biggest asset when it comes to investing. And sure, when you look back, you think that's the same with skin. It's the same with money. It's the same with skill building. Like time, how you compound time is the best effect. So, but for example, if you put £100 in this year, it might be worth 108 next year. Then at 180, if you put 10% on, add another 10%, another 10%, another 10%. Yeah. So that's not quite how it works. It'll go up and down, but effectively that's what's happening. So what you end up with is this hockey stick effect where it's like a slow burn, and then the numbers, and then this hockey stick effect happens where it sort of comes round and then it shoots up because the numbers are getting bigger. So that 10% on your base gets bigger and bigger, and before you know it, it's increasing in big chunks, not in these small like
rather than 10% on a tenner, you've got 10% on a million.
That's it. So, and I just think that theory can be applied to what we do in skincare. So I'm just building a model at the moment about the compound effect. And about actually when you talk about that investment plan, okay, well, there's a monetary aspect obviously with what we do, but actually there's more to that build up the compound
That's
effect.
A really interesting way of putting it.
Yeah. I'm not seeing anybody else do it, but to me it makes sense. And I probably need to, I'm trying to put it into a way that will translate and make sense. But you can see
and the way you've described it, because I'm a very visual person, so the way you've just done it with the
hockey stick, the way it goes up,
reminds me of like a big water slide.
It's like that. Feels like that at times. But do you know what it is? It's about, you talk about somebody like Warren Buffett, and he's a really interesting character, and he's worth God knows what, I can't remember what the last number was, billions and billions and billions and billions, right? But the bulk of his wealth, and I mean a massive bulk of his wealth, has been made when he was like late 70s, 80s. Because he just left his money in there. Yeah. He didn't tinker with it, he didn't do anything. He just carried on investing at the way that he was investing. And then it compounded, to this absolutely humongous number. And it's the principle that we're applying.
Yeah. And this is the difference between being rich and building wealth.
Yes. Yeah. And skin wealth. So we talk about in clinic, we talked about health, longevity and performance, but those 3 things together effectively build your skin wealth. Yeah. And we can monitor that through, we're very lucky, one of the first 10 businesses globally to get hold of a brand new skin test, skin health test, And they backed us because of all this kind of conversation and our view on things and our approach. And they didn't have to, they're not a mass, they don't go to mass businesses and have this everywhere. It's in very specific clinics that align to their values as well. Yeah.
What an asset.
Yeah, it's amazing. And it's good because it's the first non-invasive option where effectively you swab the skin. It talks about that mitochondrial health of the skin.
So would you recommend, what sort of age do you think that would be beneficial to someone from?
Is it just
as early as the 20s, or is it more later in life?
It's so funny. I literally was watching something the other day about, I actually agree with Caroline Hirons I was listening to the other day, and she was on, I think it was BBC Breakfast, I think it was, and she was saying about how it's sort of, I think, just horrific how young children, and we're past tweens now, it's sort of below that, are being marketed to for skincare.
I saw that. I wonder if it's the same thing.
Like, again, from you go back to your core values and morals and what it's just mass consumerism.
My 11-year-old daughter is the perfect example.
Yeah.
Her birthday list and her Christmas list, she wants Elf, she wants Bioma, she wants all these
crazy
brands.
Yeah.
Because it's popping up on YouTube or TikTok, which fair enough she shouldn't have. Yeah. But it's just...
It's crazy. It's
they know that the kids are on that and they want to make their sale.
This is it. It's the purchase power of the child, isn't it? And then there's the guilt factor of like parents where they're like, well, if they don't have their friends
that's what they want.
This is it. I mean, it was phones at one point. Now it's like phones and skincare and makeup and perfume. You know, and actually just think, wow, we you know, when we grew up, we were kids, you know, and it's just they're just becoming young adults really quick, like really quick. And again, what the impact of that is long term, who knows? Because we haven't seen that yet.
Yeah.
But I can't advocate enough. She was saying until effectively you've until you're a teenager or you've had your first period or whatever, she's like, do not even think about it.
We definitely watched the same thing. It was a couple of days ago. It was this that I saw. Yeah.
And I think she's, again, as you know, someone that you sort of look up to, or you know, as a peer or whatever, she's just fantastic. And I love the fact that she isn't afraid to say what she thinks, and I'm built the same way. I think people do need to talk about this sort of stuff and have an open conversation, but also say it's okay not to do it. You know, because you get all these is it 10,000 marketing messages a day or whatever, it's something ridiculous. But yeah, that for me is a no.
Can I just say as well, so she's been wanting this for a while. She's 11 now, but she's been putting stuff on her face probably since the age of 9. Maybe, I'd say maybe 9. But even my other half, her dad, that knows nothing about girly stuff, knows nothing about skin health and cellular this and whatever. He is a bloke that works on a building site that he'll, like, his idea of skincare is he'll put like face wash on in the shower, and he'll put his man's in the black packet, like, so it's manly.
Definitely for men.
Yes.
It's for men.
Yeah, because it makes all the difference. And he'll put that on and he'll be like, oh. And to be fair, he's a bloke, but he does actually take quite good care of himself. And so he's got his moisturiser. I think he's got a little thing for his eyes. And that's as the extent of his knowledge of skincare and stuff. And even he goes, I don't know why you do all this to your skin. Your skin is young. You don't need all this. Like, all these words come out of his mouth. Yeah. And it's like, if someone, not to put him down, but if someone with that level of understanding of skincare and females
absolutely
products and potions and stuff can give you that message, then like
absolutely, you just know that it's unnecessary.
It's unnecessary
because we've grown up without it, and like, our skin, everything's okay. But also, you think about at that age, their skin barrier and balance, and it's just, again, it's unnecessary. It's just unnecessary.
And I wonder if it prompts. I wonder if it prompts early puberty or anything as well. Like, does it mess with the balance in your skin and does that then trigger something further inside? Like,
this is it. These products aren't, even when they say they're natural, a lot of them, define natural, and I worked in the food industry where, you claim natural, so I understand.
Organic, that's not actually organic.
Yeah. And, but yeah, I think to answer your question, if you're talking about, so we deal with, there's 4 paths to people coming into our clinic. There's 4 paths, 4 reasons why they'll come in. So the first one is skin texture. So it'll be fine lines, wrinkles, could be scarring, etc., that type of thing. You've then got skin laxity, which is where you've lost, effectively, it's mass collagen loss, effectively, amongst other things, but predominantly that. So you get effectively sagging skin or skin that's sort of, folding, etc. We then got pigmentation, and we then got what we call skin conditions. So spots, acne, psoriasis, dermatitis. So it's quite interesting. So in terms of preventative, I suppose with something like pigmentation, it's sunscreen from a young age, which is age appropriate. So you can get, obviously one for children, etc. So they all kind of start at different places. So I would say that's probably one where you'd start off youngest in terms of pigmentation, but you probably not do it for pigmentation.
And is that probably a hereditary thing? Does that affect?
Yeah, I think with sunscreen, obviously the aim is to avoid things like skin cancer and other skin conditions. But you'll avoid pigmentation then by default as well. So I think that education around sun exposure, sunscreen, that can be from obviously like an early age. So that's probably the pigmentation route. When you come on to skin conditions, again, typically we'd start potentially seeing that at teenage age. So yes, we do have treatments in clinic that, again, are non-invasive. Things like LED are fantastic, for skin conditions. It's non-invasive. And actually, if depending on what your condition is and what program you choose, red light's great for serotonin boosting and good mood, which teenagers is a Brucey bonus. But also the blue light helps to reduce cortisol and stress, So there's well-being benefits to things like that. And I suppose at that age, at teenage age, you can give them a very basic routine around, like a particular spot-prone skin, etc., like a really good cleanser.
And again, it's that education, isn't it?
Absolutely, but real tight, low-level stuff, not 20 products, not what it's unnecessary.
And it's personalised rather than it being generic.
Absolutely. So it's not just off TikTok for everybody or whatever it is, no disrespect. And then when it comes to skin laxity and fine lines and wrinkles, so laxity tends to be at a later stage in life, but you can do preventative work. So you start typically the average is you start losing collagen from about late 20s, like sort of onwards. So that would be when, from a fine line, wrinkle and laxity point, you could start to look at interventions, like preventive interventions rather than corrective at that stage. So again, we have conversation around immediate corrective treatments, short-term treatments, and then long-term preventative treatments, and that you want to blend them.
And what sort of things are they?
It's that 80-20 rule for me. Yeah. It depends on where you are, what your expectations are, and what your outcomes that you want to achieve. But if you're creating a blueprint, which is what we're just building at the moment, this compound blueprint, you can see it's coming. It's these questions that people are asking. It's like, well, but okay, so I am interested and I am educated and I'm late 20s and I want to get it right. What's the blueprint? And I don't have skin conditions. Yeah, it's about actually just good skin health, reducing my fine lines and wrinkles, reducing my reliance on immediate corrective treatments like Botox or fillers or that type of stuff, which there's always a yin and yang stuff. That's what people need to remember. If you're having immediate corrective treatments that are giving, immediate results in our industry would be, 2 weeks or whatever, then you've got to appreciate there's a consequence to that.
Yeah.
There is, and if people aren't advised you of the consequence as well as the benefit, I'd run a mile, because we cover all bases in our clinic. So you can make an informed decision.
Yeah.
It gets that piece around my money wall, helps me sleep at night. My ability to educate people with enough information in a way that makes sense and just isn't complex, but is enough to be able to make an informed decision, like that also helps me put my head on the pillow at night. But so I think, I would say when it comes to pigmentation, but really the drivers around sun education and sun protection, really. So as a byproduct to prevent pigmentation, you probably start at a younger age, so children. When it comes to skin conditions, it could be anything from teenage plus, depending on the situation. And then when it comes to preventing skin laxity challenges in future life and fine lines, wrinkles and scarring and that type, you're looking at late 20s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so funny, isn't it, how I'm going off the topic a little bit, but how extension of life, there's all these medicines and that to make you live longer and people living longer. But really, we're like late 20s and we're like going downwards now. Like, we always were, but there was a time where that was midlife.
Yeah.
And you start to decline and then you're dead by 60. So it's like...
I love science. I absolutely love science. And I was reading something the other week about, and I share this with our community all the time. So if you want to follow us on Instagram, feel free if you want to tap into this. But
I will put all links and everything in the description and everything.
And you just want, my mad scientist moments. But I think there was a piece where they took a human skin cell that was, I think person was in the 50s, and they managed to effectively get it to behave like a 20-year-old skin cell. Effectively, like if you look at a typical skin cell, so that would be about the skin health, the cellular health and cellular energy of that cell. That's basically what they predominantly look at. How amazing is that? That's where science is going. It's so these common immediate corrective action treatments like tox fillers. So our business is built on these. For the industry that is built on those types of, we're not built on those treatments. They're 20% of the program, not 80%.
Yeah, because they're the plaster over the problem.
They are the sticking plaster, and they have a place. They do have a place, and they do, but it's not 80%.
Yeah.
If your program currently is 80% or more, around, then you might want to reconsider it if you're interested in, looking after your skin as an organ.
Yeah. Okay, so I was on my stories this morning and just doing my skincare, as I do.
Yes.
And was said how I'm meeting you today, and I have a problem with my face. And I thought, what better day and what better person to ask? And fair enough, you've not got all your machines and everything here.
Yeah.
So I have been barefaced, don't wear makeup for over a year.
Amazing.
So it was when I went on holiday, July 2024. Didn't wear makeup because I was on holiday and I was sweating and I was getting going in the pool and stuff.
Horrific,
I was like, I'm just not going to wear makeup because there's no
it's
point.
Not worth it.
And then I was like, actually, I really hate doing my makeup every morning. I don't know why I feel like I have to do my makeup every morning. I can't be bothered.
Yeah.
Because I'm a mum. I have to get up, do the school run. I run a business. I don't have to keep the house tidy. I don't have the time to then be like, oh, I need to put a whole face of fripping makeup on. I don't want to be doing that. So I was living this lovely makeup-free life. I was like, I'm not going back. And at that time, I'd started getting random big spots on my cheeks.
Yeah.
And going back to when I was a teenager, I was so fortunate. I've never gone through spotty skin stage.
Yeah.
I've just been a really lucky teenager.
I'm like you, same. Very lucky, very, very lucky. Yeah.
And I don't have scars or anything because I didn't have anything really that I'd get the occasional big one. It wasn't perfect. But so then so this would have been probably beginning of 2024. So we're coming up for 2 years where I was getting these big, just random spots, and it was always on my cheeks. And usually when I was younger and I got bigger spots, it would be my nose or my head or really uncomfortable ones right by your nose or something like that.
It's always the one.
But never on my cheeks.
Yeah.
I'd never have anything on my cheeks. And I was on what was I on? I was on a contraceptive injection at that time. And I thought, right, maybe it's that. I've taken contraception for way too long.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it anymore. So I came off contraception. I've not been on contraception.
Which is a big trend towards at the moment.
I've not got my partner to have the snip. It's easier.
Yeah.
But no, so I'm not on anything. So I'm not disrupting my hormones or anything like that.
Yeah.
And then I was then I went through, and it kind of maybe calmed down. I don't know if I just went through a good phase. Stopped wearing makeup in July 2024. And again, started to get better. And I was really started investing in skincare and what I was putting in my face, and got sort of a little bit obsessed with all the stuff that my daughter's.
As we do,
yeah. She's loves all her skincare. And I was like, oh, maybe I should look rather than just a toner and a moisturiser. Start looking at all the lotions. I went to Holland and Barrett, probably spent about £100 on stuff that I don't know if it's going to work. But if it costs money, it's going to work, right?
That classic, that classic marketing tactic. Yeah,
it's expensive. It's got to work.
It's expensive. This is it. This is utopia. I found it. I found the unicorn product. Yeah.
I've been using all that, and I've found stuff that I like.
Yeah.
And it maybe calmed down for a little while.
Yeah.
And now, I don't know, maybe 2 months ago, I've started getting all these tiny little pimply spots.
Yeah.
So I'm there squeezing these tiny little bits of white out to try and just, because you could see it. You wouldn't necessarily see it, obviously, but it's all around sort of the bottom part of my face. And now, you can see, I've got one here, I've got one here, I've got one here. And it's and I don't wear a lot of makeup, so they're quite obvious. I'll put a bit of concealer on or something.
Good. It is.
Oh, thank you.
It is. No, it is.
Other than these flipping things.
No, I understand. Yeah.
And I'm like, right, who better to ask than you? What is going on? I'm wondering, is it because I'm approaching the age of, I am 35. Am I just over the other edge of this mountain peak now? It's all going wrong.
It's a real interesting one. And the more women I speak to, I suppose, because we've got that bracket between 30 and 60, like you say, you get through your teenage years, you think, yes, I'm one of the lucky ones, or, or survived, or I had the odd one, but, nothing too serious. And you think you're on the home run. And then the amount of people I speak to where they get spots, not acne, but spots, and regular spots, I would say. activity from mid-30s to 50 is unbelievable. I remember my mum actually having the same. She was like, I thought I'd gone through this stage.
Yeah.
So the only sense, typically, if it's around the lower sort of jawline area, which it sounds like they've kind of come down this sort of around this area here from, just again visual sort of whatever, that would indicate hormonal. That would indicate hormones. When we talk about generally like spot activity and things, and I literally had this conversation last weekend, actually, the same thing. I had somebody come in who's just got really heavy spot activity all here and then picked and scarred, and it's getting to a point now where there needs to be sort of intervention, And it's funny because I would go, I don't know why it's like this. That's always the way. I don't know why, I don't know whatever. And this has happened twice the last few weeks. I've had people come in with this condition. I've ended up with 10 pages of notes.
Wow.
Because you start digging into lifestyle factors, and then all of a sudden it's that like, yeah, oh yeah, no, I did do that. Oh no, I do that. Oh no, I have bought this. And what you find as well is, so in lifestyle factors genuinely play about 80% of what's happening. Yeah.
And what do you mean by lifestyle factors?
Could be sleep, your diet, environmental factors, which are more difficult to control. Appreciate that, like pollution and things like that. But sugar and dairy in particular are two kind of, I think where the education is around them, they're kind of known to contribute. So
dairy, really? I didn't know that. I knew sugar. Because there's so much talk around sugar.
Yeah.
But dairy, I didn't realise.
I think what people don't explain is why. So, talk about early why. So, because people don't know, they go, oh yeah, you'll go to an esthetician and say, stop eating dairy and stop eating sugar. But then they won't say why, because they don't understand. So,
that's a sacrifice.
I know. I love both those things. And this is a problem. But if you look at like where our diets are now, it's sugar laced, and there's a lot of dairy
processed
foods and things like that. Here's a stat: the diet industry started in the 80s, and people are more obese now than they were pre the diet boom. God. It's because the substitution products that they use are not like they're either synthetic or they're. If you're taking out fat, you've got to substitute it for something else, because otherwise people won't buy it. So yeah, but when you start looking at it, we go back to those foundational things. That 80% of foundation. So when we talked about NAD in terms of supplementation and cellular health side of things, but you talk about sleep and diet. So sugar feeds the bad bacteria in your gut. Basically, when we develop as human beings, your brain and your gut, they literally as a unit separate. So when they say your gut is your second brain, it literally is. And when you look at your gut and it's that sponge, it looks like the brain effectively.
Oh my God, this is so interesting because on a lot of podcasts I listen to at the minute, they are literally saying the same thing.
Yeah,
and they're saying how, I mean, for someone to talk about gut, I'm very qualified. I have Crohn's disease. And I have had to learn a lot.
Yeah.
But never in my research until recently have I learned so much about your brain and your gut being connected.
Yeah.
And how an imbalance in your gut can lead to depression and things. And it's always, with Crohn's disease, people have said, oh, you can get depression, you get this. And it's because of how it affects your life. And it's a mental thing, but actually it's the way they're connected.
So the bulk of your serotonin, which is your happy hormone, is actually made in the gut.
That makes sense. Exactly. Why you feel.
So if you're if it's undercooking it or it's not making as much as it should because of conditions like you've just alluded to, then it will affect the brain because they are literally connected. Yeah, I think people don't understand this, but I think what I am learning about gut health is nobody really understands it. We know it's important, but nobody, other than kind of getting snippets like, we know sugar feeds the bad bacteria, so you should probably avoid. That's kind of the level that it's at the moment because there's not been enough research or evidence or et cetera behind it. And what a good gut bacteria looks like or not, people just are struggling to define. What we do know is things like probiotics and prebiotics are really good for feeding the gut the right things.
And it's funny because one of the simple things that actually does help my Crohn's if I'm going through a bad time is one of those little Yakults.
Yes.
And I've always thought, oh, it's fake marketing, like just rubbish. But I guarantee, like if I can feel the difference, if I've had one of those every morning for a week, I will be better than and if I stopped it.
It's funny how, because I used to work in the dairy division when I used to work for a major retailer at their head office, and I looked after those, they're called active drinks, basically. So I got to see all the science behind it and work with Yakult. And so we used to do label versions, and we used to obviously get the brand in. So we used to have educational sessions around it so that we could understand the product. But yeah, they definitely work, and the science shows that they work. Now, but more interestingly, I think it's quite interesting that they are suspended in a dairy-based product, which might be counterintuitive. But that's a whole other. I don't know. I don't want to say something that would be incorrect, but I remember. But in the stuff that I'm reading about, is there's other mechanisms and ways to get pro and prebiotics other than through that system. But they are definitely an option. Yeah. I think there's definitely hormones at play because of age and type, but also interestingly, because again, I'm always looking at correlations and things that are coming through that are consistent. So with the individuals that I'm having this conversation with, where they're suffering, and it varies, guys, it could be at the level that you're at, but somebody came in the other day and it was the other end of the spectrum. Interestingly, they've all come off contraception.
Oh.
Yeah. Interestingly, within 12 to 18 months of kind of it happening, and some happen quite quick, and some of like, actually I came off it 18 months ago or 12 months ago, or etc. So because it does regulate.
It hasn't necessarily done me any good coming off the contraception, or
it depends which way. Well, it depends on which.
That's interesting.
But yeah, so it does help to regulate that side of things. Yeah. So whether it's again, I'm hypothesizing because we've probably got, I don't know, I'm probably talking about 10 clients that have come in where that's been a contributor. You know, we've had this conversation.
That's an interesting pattern.
It's an interesting pattern. So that's what I look for, is patterns, but I need to be able to substantiate that. But yeah, that's definitely something we're seeing, along with, with the high sugar, or sugar-based diets. And there's hidden sugar in things. So even when you think you're doing yourself right, some of the vegetables that you eat and things like that can be high sugar.
Yeah. It's the hidden sugars, isn't it?
Yeah.
Every time I take my children to the dentist, they're like, "Oh, the hidden sugars," and I'm like, "Oh, I promise I'm trying not to let them eat sweets." I hate Halloween. It's too much sweets.
Well, but do you know what? Jokes aside, we see an increase in people with spot or sort of acne-based skin genuinely after Halloween and after Christmas.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, and then again, when you talk about patterns, people coming off hormone-based treatment, people coming after high sugar-based, times of year, absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is interesting.
Yeah. And then you just go through, we've obviously had the... you go from light to dark, and people tend to say that sleep patterns were disrupted in the autumn, winter, because we're still up and we're working. And so then we put fake light on, and then you're up and you're more awake and more alert. Yeah. So having that hour before you go to bed to dim the lights and start getting to sleepy mode and try and balance your hormones out so you think that you're going to sleep even if you're not, will help. Yeah.
So all these good things, there's a common thing that all these podcasts say on these topics. And it's all these. It's the sugar, it's the sleep, and different lighting, and
And I think the other side of it, the pattern, probably the other pattern, the third one I'd pull out is if you talk about hormones, you talk about kind of sugar-based diets, and then there is a piece around sleeping, etc. But that when you speak to people, that hasn't changed. So you're kind of like, okay, fine. The third one is where people they want to take intervention, and I get it because you don't want them there. But every time somebody does an intervention, and you say, how long did you do it for? How long did you commit to that intervention? So it could be, as somebody had a face scrubber, that they wanted to use. Or I've had people where they said, oh, I've tried this cream, or I've done this. And it's always for a week or 2 weeks. Well, your skin cycle minimum, so it gets longer as you get older because that whole cellular turnover piece and slowing down. But when you're 20s, 30s, it's probably about 4 weeks. When you're in your 60s, you're getting towards more like 5-6 weeks, for that cellular turnover. So a cycle, say, is 4 weeks at best. And you probably need to do that 3 times at least before your skin adapts to, co-regulates to, understand what's going on, can absorb it, everything else. So I think that, but we've got less patience. We want instant results. And I do get it because it's your face, it's your face. So, but it's
and probably the price point as well. When they're spending money, they want to see it straight away. And
this is it. But it's the worst thing you could do.
Yeah.
The worst thing you could do.
But it's the same with anything, isn't it? Yeah. It is consistency. It's a long game. And like even in my job, I talk about it all the time. Like I've had people leave recently, clients that have left Elevate because they haven't seen instant results.
Yeah.
In like, I always say at least give it 3 months for the algorithm to like pick up or something. And they're like month 1, oh, I'm not seeing anything.
It's crazy.
And it just drives me insane.
But also you kind of like, if you're building a business and it's, you know, it's a long game, game, you know. So obviously just to caveat this, because we now obviously do work yourself, but we signed up, we're having a conversation with an agency, you know, and they were like, they did 1 month contracts, 3 months, etc. And I said, if we're going to do so, it needs to be a 12-month contract. Because the first 3 months are literally at best test phase.
Figuring it out. Yeah.
Just test phase. And then the next 3 to 6 months is refining that test phase, you know, and just getting and digging into that and working out, okay, people seem to like this type of content. They don't like this. They're engaged in this. They don't want to know about that. And there's things about, actually, but they need to know about it. So I'm just not landing it the right way. So let's try something different, you know.
Yeah.
And then actually, if you're lucky, you'll get 3 months where it kind of starts to just that hockey stick effect starts to happen. You know, that slow curve at the base. If you're lucky. But you know, typically 12 months you're talking test phase.
Yeah.
And I think it's just, but then it's social media and it's about, you know, you can earn £1 million in a week and this, you know, it's not reality.
I know, everyone thinks, and obviously it's not just social media we do, and I try and tell everybody as well.
Yeah.
You can't just have a funnel and expect that to do magic for you. Like you need the funnel, you need the social media, you need the website, you need the online presence, you need things like podcasts, you need to win awards, you need to, it's that whole everything. It's the way you show up, the authenticity, the way you connect, the way you give words in, whether it's vocally or through captions. And there's so many things. And then it's even down to like the actual logo of like, and the colors used, like, is that actually resonating with the messaging that you're putting out? And there's just so much psychological side of things as well.
Building a brand is complex and it's hard yards. Like, so you're building a brand and like in the end is your brand equity and value that carry you. Do you know what I mean? In the end, you know, eventually. And you get to this utopia phase, which, you know, I can see, you know, some businesses within our industry where they're at and they, you know, they're booked 3 months in advance just because of the brand equity and the value that's been built. But that's you look at a lot of those businesses, they're 10 years, you know, 10 years in the making. And actually that's when they're starting to, that hockey stick is just, you kind of gone through and they are starting to go see the increase that is that.
Yeah.
But that's 10 years of, and it's consistently showing, you know, you can't do one podcast a year.
Yeah.
You can't do one national publication. You can't do...
It's like one social media post a month.
Yeah, one. It's just, you know, you've got to do more.
To get more.
And you've got to do more than everybody else. And everybody else is doing more. So you've just got to do more and more and more. And do you know what, driving, I was listening to the Kevin Hart podcast with Stephen Bartlett.
Yeah, I listened to that yesterday.
Grinding, you know, 13 years. Mm-hmm. Like grinding for 13 years, you know. Yeah. And I think there's a statistic where, you know, 4% of businesses remain after 10 years. That's the truth of it.
Yeah.
But then that 4% will be, you know, hopefully in the majority in a profitable, sustainable position by that point. Otherwise, they should have, you know, dropped out, or it's a hobby at that point. You know, if you're keeping it at that stage. But that's when they're in that 4%, and that's the people that you see go on to make millions, to have a lifestyle that you want and everything else, because it's earned, you know.
Yeah, it's the commitment and the...
On this thing about passive income, I can't, just doesn't exist. Just throwing it out there. Sorry to burst the bubble. Sorry, it just does. So if somebody can prove me wrong, show me, but passive income, so to get something for doing nothing effectively or very little. If somebody can, you know, the lottery, that's probably your best shot. Yeah, it is. So, it's not reality. It's not how it works.
Yeah.
And I think we just need to start being, more honest about it. And I think that is starting to happen. I'm seeing people starting to say, actually, you know, I said I did this that month and I did, but I lost myself. I had to spend, you know, 50 grand to get there. So why I earned 70 grand actually made, by the time you take everything away, I made 100 quid.
Yeah.
You know, when you see the numbers stack up in the background behind the scenes and all the stuff that it takes to build that sales and revenue.
Yeah.
Was it sales vanity versus sanity, isn't it? Yeah. And I'm living in the world of sanity.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. Like the number of followers for me doesn't keep me up at night, doesn't make me sweat.
It makes no difference.
Like, where are the business numbers? That's the priority. Like, where's the
Exactly.
business numbers? And actually, are my clients happy? You know, it's like those are my two barometers. If those two are heading in the right direction, client satisfaction is in a good place and, you know, being enhanced, and the numbers of clients are growing. Like we literally grew the business without any marketing as such, you know, a little bit of activity on Instagram, you know, with one person running the business to decent number, you know, with just organic growth. You know?
I was the same. I did everyone else's marketing. I didn't do my own.
Yeah.
It was because it was so word of mouth.
Yeah.
At the start that
Yeah.
it's and that is what I get most of my clientele through word of mouth,
100%.
networking,
Yeah.
and building like physical connections
Yeah.
with people. Like,
Yeah.
and that's again what I do with everything Elevate. It's all about building that connection.
Yeah.
And social media, we do social media to be authentic,
Yeah.
show up, make connections, make people like you,
Yeah.
make them trust you, not to get a viral reel from people in America that are never going to be a client anyway. So
No, what's the point?
like, it doesn't matter.
No.
But then, so should we go rewind the clock and go back to Kate's childhood
Oh, wow.
and see where this has all
It's in my body
started?
language. My foot is like twitching. It was like, it literally went like my whole body went, no, it's fine. No, it's fine.
Tell me, I want to know, Kate, I think we've dived a lot in. Oh, actually, one more question.
Yes.
LED masks.
Oh,
Are they
LED
worth the money?
masks. I don't back them. I'll tell you, and I don't back them. I said there was two reasons. So we use, we've committed, you know, I'm really committed to using Dermalux LED devices.
Mm-hmm.
For me, they're just industry leading, and
And that's your device in
that's our
clinic.
device in clinics. And, you know, they're in the NHS. And the critical appraisal system to get into the NHS, you know, we could just imagine, because the risk of like litigation or issues or et cetera. So, you know, that's just another rubber stamp for me. But they're massively science backed, and they can prove the outcome of it. And they've got case studies coming out their ears about, you know, the impact that the device can make. They do not have a mask.
Okay.
The biggest, probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest LED, you know, manufacturer, and the business I would respect more than anybody else. They did look at it, is the honest answer. They did have it, and then all of a sudden it sort of disappeared and whatever. So that's one reason is who we use in clinic. And I'm like, well, if we use them in clinic, I'm really passionate about the client having the same experience. If you're going to have it at home,
Yeah.
you're not going to get second like value, just second standard stuff. Like, I just won't do it. I'd rather you come into clinic, you know, and we'll make it work if that's what it takes. You know, whether it's a light lounge club or whatever it is, you know, we can do that. But the second one for me is when you're at school and you used to. If you shone a light onto a surface, a reflective surface, so it goes in as a beam, but it refracts as almost like a prism. Like
Yeah.
And that there is, you know, when we use LED devices in the clinic, they have to be a certain amount of distance away from the face because of that process.
Yeah.
So I just can't, and I'm absolutely open for somebody to educate me if I'm miseducated or don't understand or I've misinterpreted something. But when it's here,
Yeah.
somebody needs to explain to me how it's got the space to refract.
Yeah.
Why
That makes
aren't I putting
sense.
my device right on my client's face? Why?
Yeah.
Why?
And is
That's-
that doing more damage than good if it's that close up maybe anyway?
I don't know. I think it's a bit of a trend, bit of a fad, bit of
Yeah,
a...
I think so.
Yeah.
And if you look at the brands that are releasing them,
Yeah.
they're the ones that are doing it for the hype.
This is it. This, exactly. Yeah. If you look at their portfolio, it's click repeat, you know,
Yeah.
so...
And like you say, leading people, Dermalux, if they're not putting that out there to give people the best experience, they can take one home and like come in clinic for a top up, but
100%.
bring one home, because that's obviously not what they think is the right thing, and that's not beneficial, and therefore they don't do it. And if anyone's going to do it for the right reasons, it'll be them.
So I always do my clients say, if you genuinely, again, it comes back to that, doesn't it? Do you want quick fix, questionable outcomes?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it again, open to be proven wrong if anybody wants to get me on the podcast and educate me. But the or do you want to invest in something that you know is science backed and will last a long time and will pay dividends to you a long time? So we have a range of Dermalux devices in our clinic, one of which is a Flex. It's like a dome, flexible dome, and you can purchase those. Yes, they are more expensive. Yeah, let's be straight. But again, I think this concept of value for money rather than just cash spend, they're two different things. So you can inadvertently end up spending more through doing bits and bobs around here and you're not seeing results and you're constantly, or you just go and get this.
Yeah.
And that's just us as a business. That's how we are.
Yeah, makes sense.
Because I absolutely will back that device to the high heaven. As does Victoria Beckham, as does Kate Moss. Apparently, yeah. So, and they're not looking too bad. So, but there's a well-being side as well. Again, you talk about responsibility, right? Responsibility as a business owner, as just a human being side. That is somebody's money. I don't know if this is the northern in me. Maybe we'll come on to it when I'm my childhood, but it's I can't bear people like wasting money. I just can't bear it. Like it's just it just doesn't sit right with me. Because I've been in a situation where my money's been taken, you feel like you've been done by, and that feeling is not nice. So that mask, yeah, okay, they sell them on the premise of kind of skin health and whatever. But actually, if you genuinely got something that worked, it would also help your well-being. And that's what I say, the Dermalux Flexes have that capability, capacity. It's scientifically proven, whether it's boosting your serotonin level, like you were saying, where, with your condition, sometimes that can be a challenge or potential challenge. Or, with the blue light, you reduce your stress and your cortisol, which I'm sure most of us in the UK globally right now, stress and where things are would be quite open to that. So I just think, do your research, take what I say as a starting point, but go do your own research. But that's where I sit with it.
No, that's really interesting for someone that knows the factual scientific
and like I say,
on things.
I'm always open to learning and being disproved or re-educated, but those are two indicators for me. You go back to the basic science and you go back to who you know, like, trust, and who we back, and who for me are, the NHS, there's no way they're taking anybody on that would compromise clinical safety.
Well, they can't afford to, can they?
Absolutely not. So the budget says, but no.